In previous tutorials, you might have heard me talk about variables, and um, in this video, we're going to go a little bit more in depth of global variables and local variables, okay? And so, what a global variable basically is a variable that you can access globally, and global variables can't be modified within other locales. They can only be modified on a global scope, all right? And local variables can be accessed only within its own locale. Okay, so it can't be accessed globally, only within its local scope. Okay, and what do I mean by that when I say that? To show you a little example, we're going to declare this variable x is equal to the number 9. Okay, and x right now is a global variable because it's within the global scope. And now we're going to define this function called function. All right, and we're going to declare our local variable z is equal to 3, and let's just return the number z, and then we're going to print out, let's just print out x, okay? We're going to see what happens. So this should be pretty obvious of what happens. Prints out the number 9, right? Because 9 is on a global scope, and we can access 9 wherever we want. We can also access 9 within, we can access x within this, and let's just get rid of this return statement right now. And we actually have to call function first. There we go. It would actually also print out the number 9, except for it will say none because we don't have a return statement. So it prints out 9, and that kind of proves, right, we can access x wherever we want in the function within the program. I'm sorry. We can access it within this and other local scopes that we can define. All right, but we actually same is not vice versa for local variables, right? So if we try to print out z, we're going to get some errors, okay? Look at this. It says name z is not defined, right? Because the program doesn't know what z is because z is not on the global scope. It's only local right here. So we can only access z within this local scope, all right? So that's kind of a neat little example of why we can't access local variables within the global scope and why we can access global variables within local scopes. Now, let me show you another example of why we can't modify global variables within local scopes. All right. So um, let's define our little z again. Z is equal to 3, but let's print out x. Okay. So we know that this is going to work, but now let's try modifying x. All right. So we're gonna say uh, print x plus equals. Actually, no. We're gonna just say. Remember how I said x plus equal 1 is equal to x is equal to x plus 1? So we're actually going to say, yeah, we're going to say x is equal to x plus 1, and we're going to print out x. And then we're going to print out our function. And so look at this, it says local variable x is referenced before assignment, all right? And this error gets a lot of people right here, all right? Because it thinks that this right here, this x, is actually referencing this local variable x right here. So it gets kind of confused, right? So are we modifying it? Are we declaring a new one? Are we calling this global variable? So the program's really confused on what to do really. So this is really bad practice. Do not do this. And so to solve this is just to declare a whole new variable y right here. And look at that, it fixes everything. And we can print out y, and it should print out 10. And it does. Prints out 10. And so that's how to solve that problem right there. And that's also a neat little example of why we can't modify global variables within local scopes, all right? And now let me show you something else. Another way to kind of uh, to, to call our um, global variable and modify it is to say we're going to want to say global x. All right, so now we know what we're talking about. All right, we have global x. We're going to delete that right for a second. And now we can start modifying it. We can say x is equal to x plus 1, and then we can call our x right here, and then it should print out 9. Oh wait, it should print out 10, I'm sorry, because we just added 1 to it. We just modified it, okay? And so if you want to modify your global variables, you're going to have to say, we're going to call our global x right here, so we know what we're actually talking about, not a local x, a global x. And we're going to want to modify it and say, hey, we're going to declare this local x now. We're going to call this global x, and we're going to add 1 to that global x, and we're going to print out this local x, all right? There are a lot of x's in here, all right? But it's really complicated, but that's just the way we do it. And prints out 10. All right. And so in a nutshell, that's what global and local variables are. And you might want to rewatch this video a few times over just to really get the hang of it, because this is a really difficult concept to understand. All right. So try rewatching this, experiment it with a little bit with yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.